The offseason for Major League Baseball is coming up, and this time there won't be a strike that makes it hard to do business on the free agent market. So let's try to guess what contracts the best players on the market in 2022-23 will end up with. Any task like this requires guesswork, but we tried to make ours as well informed as possible by looking at available reports in some cases and relevant past cases in others. First, Justin Verlander, Houston Astros, and Brandon Nimmo, New York Mets. Justin Verlander made $25 million this year, and if he uses his player option, he can make another $25 million in 2023. Why would he do that though? Last year at this time, Verlander was a big question mark. He was 38, soon to be 39, and had just had Tommy John surgery. To say the least, no longer. He is likely to win his third Cy Young Award, and rightfully so, since his ERA was the lowest for an American League pitcher in a full season since Pedro Martinez in 2000. Still, we think the right-handed player who is going to Cooperstown has a chance to match or even beat Max Scherzer's record-setting average annual value in a multi-year deal. Best guess projection, 2 years, $88 million. Have you ever thought that Brandon Nimmo doesn't get enough attention? In the last 5 seasons, he has gotten on base at a rate of .388, which is 6th among batters who have made at least 2,000 plate appearances. It's always good to have a guy like that, especially at a key position where he can offer some power and decent defense. The only red flag in Nimmo's past is something about his health. Since 2017, he's missed 256 days of work because of injuries. He's had neck and finger injuries that will keep him out for a long time in 2019 and 2021. And no, we're not going to forget about the chicken either. Nimmo's negotiating power will also be hurt by the inevitable qualifying offer, but probably not enough to keep him from getting a good multi-year deal. Best guess projection, 5 years, $100 million. Next, Edwin Díaz, New York Mets, and Carlos Rodón, San Francisco Giants. Where does Edwin Díaz's narco start place among the best closer starts of all time? Up there with Enter Sandman by Mariano Rivera and Hell's Bells by Trevor Hoffman? We believe so. When Díaz comes into a game, it's less exciting and more scary for the batters on the other team. In his career, he has struck out 40.3% of the batters he has faced, and this year was his best with a rate of 50.2%. Jeff Passan of ESPN has brought up the idea that Díaz could be the first MLB reliever to make $100 million. It will happen, and it's hard to think of a better person to follow Aroldis Chapman's record-setting contract from 2016. Best guess projection, 5 years, $100 million. As soon as he pitched 110 innings for the San Francisco Giants in July, Carlos Rodón earned the right to get out of his contract. Whether or not he would depended only on how well he stayed. He did exactly that on his way to a career-high 178 innings. He was also great the whole time, with a 2.88 ERA and the best strikeout rate in the league, 12 per 9 innings at the end. This winter, people won't forget about the injuries Rodón had early in his career, which ended with Tommy John surgery in 2019, but it won't be forgotten that he may have been the best pitcher in terms of rate over the last 2 seasons. His 2.42 FIP is the best among pitchers who have thrown at least 300 innings. After 2018, Rodón's profile is similar to that of Patrick Corbin, except that he is a year older. Since the second player signed a deal with the Washington Nationals, the first player should be in good shape. Best guess projection, 5 years, $120 million. Moving on, Jacob deGrom, New York Mets, and Dansby Swanson, Atlanta. When Jacob deGrom told the Mets in March that he was going to use the opt-out clause in his contract, he had no idea what would happen next, namely, that his bad shoulder would keep him out of action for the first 4 months of the season and that he would have some problems when he came back. His home run rate is especially interesting because it was more than twice as high as it was in 2021. Even so, this is as far as we can fool anyone. We're talking about a 2-time Cy Young Award winner whose fastball and slider were still powerful weapons in 2022. Plus, he might have the best control of any power pitcher in the history of baseball. There doesn't seem to be much doubt that Scherzer's deal with the Mets, especially in terms of its average annual value, is what deGrom wants. He should be able to beat it, especially if the Mets owner Steve Cohen keeps his promise to keep his best pitcher. Best guess projection, 3 years, $135 million. Even though there will be better shortstops available in the offseason than Dansby Swanson, that doesn't mean he's not a good one. Even though Thursday's announcement caused some confusion, Swanson deserves to be a National League Gold Glove finalist for the work he did this season at shortstop. He wasn't just a one-note player though. Along with his 115 OPS+, he also had power and speed. Still, it's a good sign for Swanson that Trevor Story and Javier Baez both had question marks after their age 28 seasons last year, but they both made money anyway. Best guess projection, 6 years, $140 million. Next up, Xander Bogaerts, Boston Red Sox, and Carlos Correa, Minnesota Twins. Xander Bogaerts' current contract with the Boston Red Sox has 3 more years and $60 million left on it, but there's there's no doubt that he should opt out. Bogaerts has averaged an OPS plus of 133 over the last 5 seasons, which is a very consistent number. He has stayed between 128 and 135, making him the only shortstop in this time period to go at least as high as the former every year. Bogaerts' defense is usually what holds him back, but not right now. He deserves to be a finalist for a Gold Glove because he has better than average numbers for defensive runs saved, ultimate zone rating, and outs above average. Bogaerts' age makes it harder for him to make as much money as Story, Baez, and Swanson. Best guess projection, 8 years, $240 million. The chances that Carlos Correa would choose to stay with the Minnesota Twins for another season have always seemed to be between slim and none. As of October 13, they are no longer one. Correa's position on the market isn't as strong as it was last winter in some ways. He is a year older, and 7.2 R-WAR is not his career high. Part of the reason for this is that his defensive stats got worse in 2022. Still, he had a better offensive season with 22 home runs and a 140 OPS plus. He also doesn't have to worry about qualifying offer limits this time, which makes him different from the other top shortstops on the market. Last winter, Correa was said to be looking for a deal between $330 and $350 million. He didn't get it then, and he probably won't get it this winter either. You shouldn't rule out a 9-figure deal that starts with a 3 though, and he should at least make more than Bogaerts. Best guess projection, 9 years, $270 million. Finally, Trea Turner, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Aaron Judge, New York Yankees. Trea Turner is the most talented of the 4 big-name shortstops who are about to become available. In the last 4 seasons, all he's done is hit .311 with an average of 26 home runs and 35 stolen bases per 162 games. The latter is ready for a change because his fast sprinting speed and the upcoming increase in the size of the bases are a perfect match, so why not like it? Turner, on the other hand, is such a dynamic offensive player that he should still be able to get an AAV like Lindor's in his next contract, and maybe in a deal that will end when the Mets shortstop is about the same age as he is now. Best guess projection, $272 million over 8 years. Aaron Judge's 2022 season was a hero-level season, and as a walk year, it was a god-level season. The MVP award for the American League is the least he could get. More questions come up when it comes to what kind of contract he should get. His history of injuries is not a secret, and the fact that he is 6'7" and weighs 282 pounds and will be 31 on April 26, 2023 doesn't make him less likely to get hurt again. Still, 62 home runs and an OPS plus of 211, 10.6 R-WAR. All of this was backed up by really great numbers like exit velocity, hard hit rate, barrel rate, and expected slugging percentage at the 100th percentile. A 99th percentile walk rate was also just out of reach. Judge's next deal is likely to be worth between $300 and $400 million. Unless someone gives him a 10-year contract, he would have to beat Mike Trout's average annual salary for position players. Best guess projection, 8 years, $300 million. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, cheers!